I throw back my daily fistful of pills with a glass of water. After a solid 8 hours of sleep, oh wow, fancy man with his 8 hours of sleep. I don't really know what I was so afraid of last night. As I chew a particularly large tablet in half, I continue to rationalize my worries anyway. Shizune knew I was taking sign language classes all day yesterday and didn't make a big deal of it. She might be mute, but that doesn't mean she can't make her feelings known. No, in fact, it seems like she's all the more direct for it. She doesn't beat around the bush or hold back. She always makes herself clear unapologetically, so there can be no mistakes. So, if she wasn't mad then, it's unlikely she would be at all. And on top of that, I didn't really do anything wrong anyway. But as that fear of mine recedes, the thought of spending a couple days with Shizune without Misha takes its place. I hadn't really thought about it yesterday, but the idea becomes more and more intimidating. It's true, I can understand sign language pretty well, but I would definitely hesitate to say I can understand it above a basic level, and if she were to speed up her signing, which she does quite a bit, I don't think I could keep up. Signing too is not my strong suit. Doing both at the same time like Misha can is still a distant dream. Oh boy. Hichan! What? Don't forget, you said you'd help out with building stalls today, behind the school after classes are over. Okay. I know. Last time you helped out, Hichan, we really appreciated it. This time, it's even more important, so skipping out is unforgivable, okay? I want to ask why that is, but there isn't any opportunity to. Besides, Misha's behind in her classes, so it seems like a bad idea to distract her now that I know that. I can always ask her at lunch, which is what I end up doing. Later that day, because really, it's like literally, a festival that celebrates a town is exactly what it sounds like. It's to celebrate your home and its history. I don't know jiggity jack about anything about where I live, and I don't much care about it either. Tanabata is different. It's for wishes and lovers. That definitely makes it more important, doesn't it? Yeah, naturally it would be. Uh-oh. Is it really what it's for, though? Hichan, you have no sense of fun. She puffs out her cheeks in displeasure like Kirby, before blowing the air out like a deflating balloon, also like Kirby. And she's pink, like Kirby. Is there fan art of her with Kirby? There should be. If not, I might have to do it, because I want to see that now. You have to appreciate things like that, even if it's just an excuse to eat interesting things and dress up in the end. I'll be disappointed in you if you don't, okay? Before I could say anything, she turned to the side to inhale a croquette! Like, literally, she inhaled it. It is now in her lung. We had to call the hospital. It was horrifying. After classes, I met Shizune behind the school, where it seems like she already set everything up sometime yesterday. She greets me with a short wave, and then with a flourish of the hammer, already in her hand, extends her arm towards the stalls behind her. Some of them already half completed, others still haphazard piles of boards bundled together with string. As time passes, I realize that the pills can only do so much. I still get way more tired than should be normal. Luckily, Shizune's back is to me, so I can afford to take a lot of breaks without having to worry about her wondering why. When I stop and think about it, though, I start to feel pretty guilty for taking advantage of her inability to hear what my hammer stopped banging. It's a terrible thing to be happy about. Her work ethic is admirable. It's obvious that it bores her and even annoys her, but she doesn't slacken her pace. When she gets tired nailing a stall together with one arm, she switches to the other. Shizune. I feel like an idiot the second I say her name. I can't tell her what I think. There's a hammer in my hand as well, even in the end. I feel like I have to keep up with her. I can't slack off either, especially when it's just the two of us. There's no time to sign. No opportunity! Not even for a compliment for a job well done. Even something as casual as that would require me to put my hammer down, get her attention, and then sign it to her. A simple gesture turned into something so needlessly complex. Like a single footstep taken on a road that's longer than first imagined. You're spending a lot of time being poetic and not a whole lot of time hammering nails. I've known her long enough to know this, and still forget it. The air is filled with the rhythmic knocking of nails being driven into wood. It's actually kind of nice after a while. To pass the monotony of the task at hand, I try to match my hammering to Shizune's. Then alternate it to try and form a beat. Of course, she doesn't notice. Makes me wonder, does a lack of sound make this work seem more drawn out and boring to her? Is it strange being unable to hear the results of her actions even as she feels the vibrations through her fingers? Or having no concept of sound? Does it bother her at all? I mean, I imagine if she got deaf later in life, it very easily could have. But if she was born that way, she literally has no frame of reference to work with. Distracted, I don't notice Shizune sneaking up on me until her head pops into view. Taking a break? Yeah, I guess. Okay, let's do that. You can understand sign language. That makes it more convenient for both of us, even though you hid it from me. Why? Why what? Why did you decide to take sign language? Her eyes don't break off mine for even a second, and I'm ungodly uncomfortable and scared about how this situation is about to go down. If she needs to read my response, her peripheral vision is good enough. When she has something in her gaze, she don't look away. It's strange how piercing her eyes can be, dark as a lake at night. Because I wanted to. Seemed like it would come in handy. And it did, didn't it? Yes. Sorry, I didn't catch any of that. See, this kind of thing still comes up now and then. I wish Misha was here. She has work to make up for, doesn't she? That might be partly my fault. Misha doesn't need supplemental lessons. Her grades aren't the best. Wait, doesn't he? Her grades aren't the best, but she understands how the decision she makes affects others. That puts her ahead of many people. Especially certain blondes. Oh, right, Lily, yes. She doesn't forget things easily. Your sign language is very good. You're learning oddly fast. Almost like I kind of need to learn it fast in order for the story to be able to advance at a noteworthy pace. But again, acceptable breaks from reality. I've been taking classes for a while now, and it's kind of easy to pick up after a while through immersion or osmosis, that kind of thing. It's not too bad. And if I'm really stuck, Misha's there too. I guess I spoke too soon. I didn't understand any of that. Time to backpedal. Well, yeah, it's actually not that easy. It's actually hard as hell, like trying to pick up broken glass. But I guess in some ways it's interesting as well, like an adventure. Well, no. Picking up broken glass is not an adventure, that's just stupid. Sure it is, it's just challenging. If you use a dustpan and a broom, it's not. For the record, if you're gonna do that, wear shoes. I'm not gonna say I John McClaned myself one day by sweeping up glass off the floor, but I totally did that, and yeah, no, I have many regrets from that day. I feel frustrated and sad. When I look up, I know she has a can of soda in her hand. Where'd you get that? I forget to sign it, but she understands anyway, following my eyes and produces another one from behind her back. She's a magical girl. She tosses it in my direction, and I catch it with both hands. I brought an extra one for you. She pauses to slide her fingernail under the tab of her can and pop it open before setting it aside for a moment. I recently just cut my nails, so now I have a hard time using them for things. It's such annoying! If you're gonna try and help me so much, then I have to look out for you too. It's only natural. If you're gonna learn sign language, that's something entirely different. I'm naturally going to be impressed. What separates the two is obligation. I'm very happy. It's true. By definition, I did not need to do this. And no matter how much he says, oh, you know, I just kind of wanted to and I thought it'd be helpful. At the end of the day, like, be real with yourself, my dude. You just wanted to be able to talk to her. She downs her drink in one go, stretches her arms behind her back, and jumps to her feet. Okay, back to work. And like that, it's over. Shizune returns to her work with the same energy as before. The lingering traces of a smile on her face, the only evidence that she had taken a break at all. As I do the same, I think that Misha was right in saying everything would work out for the best. Everything so far seems to be going in that direction. And either my eyes are breaking or yeah, okay, it's getting darker. Misha swings by as it starts to get darker, looking just as tired as I feel, and Shizune decides to stop for today as fireworks goes off outside my window because I just realized it's midnight on New Year's Eve. Now it's New Year's midnight. I guess New Year's Day, technically. When's this episode gonna go up? Probably about like 11 days from now. Anyway, Misha swings by as it starts to get darker, looking just as tired as I feel, and Shizune decides to stop for the day. As we cover the day's work and go our separate ways, I look at how fluidly they talk to each other and how easily they laugh together as they walk to their dorm. Makes me appreciate Misha's skill at sign language more. I wonder if I'll ever reach that level, or if I even will have the time to. We're full of questions and not a lot of answers. Put on a parka. Again. The first thing I do this morning is trip once again over Kenji's package as I get out of bed. Why did you put it in the corner? Why is it by your feet level? Like, put it on your desk or something, you big dorcas. Finding myself diving head first into the floor before I'm even fully awake. I want to smack this thing with the first blunt object I can find. Like I'm going for a home run. But I don't even have the energy for that this early in the morning. It would likely damage whatever's inside, and that would be mean. And as much as I kind of think I might actually despise Kenji, I'm also just not a jackass. I slide it into the hallway. It sails along the smooth floor with little difficulty and stops with a soft and almost inaudible bump on colliding with Kenji's door. Immediately, a dozen locks unbolt in succession like a mounting symphony. Who is it? He says as he blindly steps forward into the hallway anyway, somehow stepping over the box in a way that would be uncharacteristically, impressively graceful if it weren't for the fact that I know it was wholly accidental. It's me. I got your mail. You're standing over it. I know. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, whatever. So what's in it? He cringes, instantly turning very defensive and agitated. It's nothing. Come on, tell me, I'm curious. And you know, I almost broke my neck falling over it. And before that, I had to carry the stupidly large box around with it blocking my vision, crossing roads with it in front of me. I think you'd at least tell me what's inside in return. It's secret stuff. I can't tell you because then it wouldn't be very secret and crap. Something important. No, if it's something important, you can tell me. If it's something important, why do you have to know? Why is that wrong? Why do you have to know? Why can't I know? Why are you answering my questions with questions? Why won't you answer my first question? Why won't you answer my last question? I realize as our voices are getting higher with each reply. Down the hall, a door pops open and someone sticks his head out quizzically to see what's going on. You must look like such tools. But I bet I'm the only one out of the two of us with enough shame to realize it. Fine, you can take it to your grave. I had to get ready for school anyway. Damn, no. Why are you so hasty to leave? Stick around a little. Want some coffee? It's been a while, you know. Thought you were dead since you were so slow with the package delivery. You're lucky I was able to do the package delivery in the first place, smartass. Whoa, calm down. Man, you were so confrontational. Is it because of the student council thing? I hear you hang out with them now. You heard it from me when I told you. Really? Yeah, well, whatever, man. The point is, they are terrible. You're the new guy, so of course you wouldn't know, but around here, she's a very divisive figure. Before you came here, she tried to institute a badge policy. It's a long story, so maybe you should sit down. I look around for a chair, but can't find one as we are in a goddamn hallway. I raise a finger and start thinking that maybe I should tell him that, but he's already started talking. Not wanting to waste the arm movement, I look at my watch instead. What a real reign of terror if it had happened. Wait, you're judging her based on something that didn't even happen? Yes. Anyway, her idea was like merit badges, but there would also be demerit badges. What would those do? I don't know, never happened. Seemed bad though. So when I heard about it, I didn't leave room for a few weeks. So you heard there would be a massive change and hid in your room, trying to just ride the change out. Nah, I decided to do something about it. I found the student council office after a while and marched right in with a list of demands and a bunch of people I grabbed in order to make myself look like I had supporters. Wait, so not only did it not happen, but no one even cared? Kenji doesn't hear me, having gotten a good momentum going. Wrapped up in the energy of his own ranting, he starts to completely flip out and flails his arms, appearing to widely throw gang signs. I walked up to the desk and said to her, "Hey you, fascist woman, what is this badge idea? How out of touch can you be? Here in your ivory tower, smugly looking down upon us like we're just a bunch of idiots. What do you think you are? Your level of elitism is terrible. You're probably one of those outrageous rich people who have chauffeurs drive them around slums so they can point and laugh. And only drink pricey coffee beans, pooped out by the last living dinosaur and brewed in a solid gold skull, which, if I'm going to be entirely honest with you, sounds like something an actual rich person has probably done at least once in their lives. And how could you? Go open up a history book. Don't you know that the I used to be able to say this. The bourgeoisie. Damn it, I used to be able to say it. Are always overthrown in a bloody revolution for crap like this. Stupid, you're an idiot. Sure, the revolutionaries usually end up turning everything into an utter bananarama later on, but a maniac is the only kind of person who would create a policy like this. It's like something I would create to make people suffer only real, and you want to institutionalize it. Where will this discretion of our rights end? Or desecration, whatever. We are people. This is not justice. That's what I said. But then there's the fact that, she can't hear you talk, so. Then I added a cry of, then they can take our things, but they'll never take our freedom, to appeal to the masses, like in that movie about the life of William Wallace, where they took his things, but not his freedom, and then killed him. I guess that's one way to describe it. But she just ignored me and didn't even look up from writing in her little paper thing. Maybe I just overwhelmed her with logic so badly that she just retreated in denial. Maybe she's just a jerk. Either way, she didn't reply, and the future refused to change. How dare you reference Chrono Trigger? You don't have the right. You haven't earned that right. You don't get to bring that up. You want to bring up Braveheart, fine, but you keep Chrono Trigger out of your ugly face. Also, she's deaf. To top it off, on the way back, I realized I'd lost my student ID somewhere. This is the story of my life. A constant and seemingly futile struggle, like trying to climb up a brick wall with sponges for hands. If you dump the sponges and sticky stuff, you could probably do it more easily than with hands. Hey, you said nothing changed, but you didn't make everyone wear a bunch of stupid badges, so it did change. Yeah, that's true. Okay, maybe they're not so bad then. I guess that counts for something. If I can get Kenji to admit that maybe two women may not be so bad after all, I'll take it. Especially if it allows me to slip out of this conversation. Didn't realize how much time had gone by. I try to run through my usual morning routine as quickly as possible. I check my watch again as I leave the dorms and see that I'm already late. Fortunately, the rest of the day goes more smoothly. After classes are over, I head to meet with Shizune again. Behind the school, I catch her leaning against a completed stand with parts of it still flecked with bits of paper and tape, remnants of signs from the last time it was used. Absent-mindedly spinning a nail in her hand, she hasn't noticed me yet. The temptation to sneak up on her is unbearable. Years of watching foreign wildlife documentaries have prepared me for this. I'm downwind, conditions are favorable. However, the more I think about it, the more it seems like a horrible idea. If get caught halfway, I'll look like an idiot, and if she doesn't know it's me, I could end up with an injury. Either way, I'll look a little sensitive, so I'd probably be for the best to not try anything funny, as disappointing as it is. I'll walk in front of her, startling her a little. Why so surprised? Did I catch you slacking off? No, I was taking a break. You don't look like you even broke a sweat. That's some break there, President. Shizune's eyes dart back and forth momentarily, and I think I've managed to fluster her. There's exasperation on her face and a little tension as well, but she can't back down. That would be unthinkable for her. Her fingers dance across each other impatiently. You're acting competitive today. Are you trying to get my blood boiling? You wanted to make it a contest? We'll race to see who can construct the most stalls by sundown. No, I'm teasing you. That's okay. It's not a real student council if you can't tease the student council president a little. You agree, don't you? This isn't a student council charter, so it isn't true. There is no charter. At least I don't think there is. The only thing they pledge loyalty to are a stack of takeout menus. Anyway, it's good that you're finally here, even if you could have been earlier. Pick up a hammer and we'll resume where we left off. As we work assembling stalls again, I slowly realized that it's really much less work than I would have expected. In fact, according to Shizune, we should be done by the end of the day with a little luck. The last time I did something like this for them, it took her, Misha, and myself almost 4 days to do it. It could just be my imagination, or it can't be that, really. You know, this doesn't seem like that much work. Because it isn't. The answer leaves me wanting a little no more, knowing that it isn't the best. Shizune puts down her hammer to elaborate. You know, that word entirely. It would be impossible for 2 people to do that much work in less than a week. The truth is that I don't dismantle half the stalls, so I just store them someplace else. Actually, more like I hide them in plain sight. She waggles a finger mischievously. But that's a secret, and it's not proper to reveal the tricks of the trade. You're not a magician. Winking, she takes out 2 plastic containers from her bag, then puts them down on a nearby board before raising her hand slightly up as if to say, ta-da! I made lunch today for both of us. Oh! Cute! You can have this one. The food shifted in my bag, and now some of it's mixed together. She hands me one of the containers. I open it. It looks delicious, if a little simple. She hands me a pair of chop-head sticks as if she just remembered to, and I eat what looks like some grilled beef. It's very tasty. You don't like your food touching other food? I do not. That would potentially imply a small degree of OCD. You're very picky. Sometimes I mix my food on my own, but it's not always, and not everything. Are you one of those people who can't eat sandwiches with their hands and have to use a fork and knife? Then again, does Japan even have fork and knives? If pop culture has taught me anything, it's that they use chopsticks for literally everything. I don't like it when it's done for me. What is important is the choice. She points decisively to emphasize it, and then breaks her chopsticks apart to eat her own meal. As I continue to eat, I notice 2 things. The first is that almost everything I'm eating besides the fried rice is fried. Even the vegetables are fried. And there's so much meat. Does she eat this kind of stuff all the time? I wonder how she manages to stay so thin in spite of it. The second thing I notice is that I had a very crass joke I just go through my head. I'm not going to say it. And keep in mind, when I say a very crass joke, I mean by my standards. So really, it's just a boob joke. Talking with your mouth full is a little rude anyway, but with our hands holding up our chopsticks and bowls, communication between us is impossible, just like yesterday. I implied that that's where the fat goes. Anyway, even though we're God damn. See, I regret saying that. That sounds so mean. That's why I don't make jokes like that. Oh, God, whatever. Anyway, I'm not looking at stuff. Even though we're spending time together, even though we're spending time together, I flustered myself. That's how bad at this I am. Even though I took the time to learn sign language, it feels like I'm talking to her less. Despite that, it also feels like I'm understanding her more. Suddenly, a lily appears, and I'm suddenly in awe of the fact that she is allowed to be in this story. It is nice seeing her again after the last one. I hear the sound of something tapping against one of the stands, and I look up to see Lily standing off to my side, feeling her way around with her cane. I foresee things going absolutely horribly in the foreseeable future. Hi. I nearly catch myself before I can say, didn't see you there. Oh, Hisao, is that you? Thought that I smelled something delicious cooking and wondered who it might be. What is she saying? It's hard to move my hands in parallel to saying something completely different to Lily. This has to be why Misha just signs everything all the time. A bit sillier, but it seems like it would simplify things a lot. Shizune tenses her fingers delightedly at my translation, as if from hearing a joke. All of this food was cooked hours ago, but for someone as slow as yourself, who can't even turn in a piece of paper without being a week late, I guess your perception of time would have to be a little different. Well, that's not very nice. A frown crosses Lily's face in response to reply to something she didn't hear. Sorry, I'm just having a late lunch here. The student council president cooked everything. Is the student council president here right now? She is right here, yes. I apologize, I didn't notice. Normally, her level of presence is much higher. I was not aware that the student council serves lunch outdoors. Why wasn't I invited? I think that is a good enough free time to be able to do things like this, however. What is she saying? If I were to invite you anywhere, you would just show up late. But Shizune's words are outside of Lily's perception, a fact that is by the second increasingly maddening to her. Translate for me completely, please. What polite phrasing. It's a shame she's essentially asking me to let her fully release the dogs of war. You'd much rather release the hogs. Still, I can't just do nothing. The feeling of being unable to even respond and be understood is so isolating. She'd never forgive me. I'll just try to soften her words a little. Well, actually, this was cooked a while ago. Really? That's nice. Turn over here. It's very disrespectful to not look at the person you're speaking to. This isn't the way a prim and proper lady should conduct herself. Half of what I'm saying is really what Shizune is saying. She doesn't like it when people don't look in her direction when she's trying to make a point. She's, to the right of my voice. Although in the case, I can understand why Lily wouldn't. This is a very awkward situation, and it's daunting being the sole conduit for dialogue between the two of them, considering the animosity. Truthfully, I had forgotten what happened the last time they butted heads like this. It's clear Shizune remembers, and Lily is being pretty hostile herself in her own way. I'm sorry. Such formalities slip my mind completely. I forget that the student council president is the type of person who would demand such respect and adherence to the rules at all times. I suppose student government requires you to keep a tight ship. Then again, she certainly has time for her own fun as well. So that must not be completely true. Student council is not a dictatorship, nor a zero-sum game. Shizune points at Lily with her finger out like a barrel of a gun and snaps her finger explosively, causing her to flinch and become visibly upset. Is that so? Then that makes it more impressive that you have been a part of it for so long, playing it as though it were one. I admire the fact that you were so tenacious. To manage it all, you must be so responsible as well. Not as much as I would like to be. You can't complain about yourself, though, can you? Your very responsible actions, like requesting a deadline to be extended and the running of all the way through to the next line, that's the very model of responsibility. Shizune is happy to hear that, but apparently you're pretty responsible yourself, she says. Does she really? More or less. Lily doesn't seem very happy. We're not holding a cookout, we're just taking a little lunch break. We're actually out here building stalls for the festival. You wouldn't know since you never go outside. Did you run out of tea? Are you going to town? Shopping? No, as I said before, I was just passing by. In case you did not hear, I would hate to interrupt the student council president. You're not doing anything now, but you must both be very busy. In any case, Sal, I'm sure that the student council president will be able to find or make work for the both of you if she needs to. I'll devour you! Yeah, very busy. Devour is a hard word. I'm pleased that I can read it. This isn't the time to celebrate, though. Not over that. Also, Engie face. Instead, it looks like she might stop squabbling. I would drink to that. Have a nice day, Hisao. Goodbye, student council president. I'm less interested in you having a good day. Thanks, you too. Stay classy. As soon as Lily leaves, Shizune dives into the remains of her lunch as quickly as possible. As with each bite she shovels away as a means to forgetting any of this ever happened. There's a story there. When she's done, she heads back to hammering with the same mindset. It's good that she's working off her frustration, but now it doesn't look like she's in any mood to talk anymore, which is a bummer. About 2 hours later, she stops, having mowed through the rest of the stalls non-stop in that time. It still feels hard to approach her, and I think about how easily a conversation could die. After it took so long to be able to get her alone and speak to her directly, it almost hurts. Your translation was good. Really? First class. She punctuates it with a thumbs up. It's adorable. For your level. Okay, there it is. There aren't many deaf people in the school, and sign language classes have been on the edge of getting cut for a while now. I'm sure you don't have many classmates, am I right? If you're only learning sign language now, your speed is going to be limited. That is why interest in it wanes, because it takes more effort than normal just to communicate. Imagine it's the same with all languages. I don't actually know what with the whole deaf and mute thing. In such a situation, conversations in sign language are less than they would inherently be to start with. I don't understand what that word, less what? Spontaneous. Spontaneous. Misha's the only person who can really capture it. Yeah, that's definitely true. Her expression changes for a second and changes back too quickly to digest, but I get the feeling that this isn't meant to be pursued. What I really want to know about is, why do you and Lily fight so much? Tensing a little and visibly frowning, Shizune tenses her fingers and overlays them repeatedly as if shuffling an invisible deck of cards. 2 fights that you know of aren't worth calling so much. If you had been here last year, you could say that. Okay, but at the same time, I've only seen you two interact twice, and both times devolved into a, verbal catfight. A verbal catfight between a deaf girl and a blind girl. Holy heck. I heard it was a rough year. Something about how you tried to institute a badge policy? Surprised? Well, I want to hear more about that later, definitely, but you don't like Lily very much, do you? Don't dodge my question. I'm not dodging anything. My reflexes are not good enough for that. She was part of the student council until last year. We didn't get along very well. She wanted to keep doing things like the old student council did. The old student council was so ineffectual. It was stupid and insulting. I wanted to do more, and we had a fight. A lot of fights. She couldn't do anything on time. And she said that what I wanted to do was meaningless, just extra busy work. Does this look like meaningless busy work to you? Shizune gestures around us. What's really meaningless is a student council that doesn't do anything. Weak, lazy, and boring. Especially boring. I couldn't get excited over sitting in a room with nothing to do. That's just a waste of time. Why would I even be there? It didn't get my blood flowing. Arguing with her does that. If she could have been that motivated before, she wouldn't have had to put so much dedication into being my enemy. But if she shows that much spirit, it's not a complete loss. At least it's something. It's still exciting. I see. And what about the badge thing? She laughs, covering her mouth with her hand as if to hide it. Her laughter is the only thing she regularly tries to hide. That was just a joke. Having a little fun sometimes is important too. Fascinating. So basically, Kenji had an epic conniption, or just a freak out in general, over literally nothing. That tracks. The next day, I end up having to hunt around a bit at the start of lunch when I find that my usual vending machine near the dormitory buildings is sold out of my usual favorite canned coffee. The detour takes longer than I expected. Things have been so hectic lately that it takes some time for me to register why something smells different as I walk through the school gates back to the cafeteria. The grass has been freshly mowed, and as we have previously established earlier in this series, that's the smell of grass in horrifying panic and blood-curdling pain. It's alerting other plants and other things that with noses, and, to let it know that something horrible is happening and is murdering it, and that they should probably run away. Which, admittedly, yeah, you should probably run away from a lawnmower, especially if it landed on you. I can't imagine the odds of that happening are very high, but, if you ever find yourself in a situation where it might, try to not let it. I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. The realization makes me pause and watch her a bit. The odd group of students chatting or playing around on the grass and a couple of teachers conversing on the path already make for a very idyllic scene. Unfortunately, a feeling of imminent dread starts creeping up on me after a while. The feeling that I'm not alone. Oh dear God, why? Hey, Asao, is that you? No, go away. I guess I should be happy it's him and not, say, a slasher. Do we know that he's not? Kanji begins talking as if he's having a conversation with someone other than me. Knew it. That haircut is unmistakable. No normal person would have a haircut like that. Unconsciously, I start touching the back of my head. Once I realize what I'm doing, I feel insulted, and yet too surprised to get indignant about it. Yeah, what are you doing here? Measuring the temperature. Winter will come soon. It'll be too cold for women to go out and have their... Oh, okay. And have their Sex in the City-style power lunches followed by obstructive human wave formation walks in crowded urban areas. You are deeply, deeply troubled, and I wish you would get help. When that happens, man will be able to walk the streets unfettered once again and reclaim what is his heritage. What? Rats eating pizza? In order to prepare for that day, I've been eating nothing but pizzas for the past week to store energy. Okay, well, he has a kinship with the Rat King. Okay. That's what bears do. So, there's much we can learn from the bear. Kenji nods, empathetically agreeing with himself. Okay, so check this stuff out. I was in town today buying milk. They had a new clerk, some hipster girl with a baseball cap with 2 hockey sticks on it. I'll call her hipster hockey baseball hat girl. I noticed that milk doesn't have a price tag, so I told her to get over there and label that milk for future generations. He was in town today? Must have cut his morning classes. I want to scold him, but his verbal torrent prevents me from getting a word in. She told me not to bother her because she was sick. Sick? Sick? We live in a society here. Oh God, he really just busted out. We live in a society. I don't think that movie even existed when this game came out. I don't like this guy. You can't just opt out of human interaction because you're sick. Do you know how much effort it takes me to get up even in the morning? I still do, though, and I got up that morning to go down there and buy milk, not to have my vital questions just brushed aside by some hipster doofus college girl who wears a hockey baseball cap to work indoors. Anyway, what's wrong with wearing a hat indoors? I say, wearing a hat indoors. Anyway, I was just trying to uphold the integrity of her products. A milk carton without a price tag? When I see something like that, it just leads to questions. Important questions. It's our job to answer them, damn it. That's the problem with women. They have no sense of duty. Yeah, that's just patently untrue in every sense of the term. I really didn't need to know those first 3 words. But you don't see me complaining about it. I soldier on and do what I have to do because that's what being a man is all about. Even if you have Daria, you keep going for the dream of a better tomorrow. You know, frequent Daria is bad. Maybe you should stop drinking so much milk. Can't do that. It's what allows me to maintain my awesome strength. And then this, by the way, that's a reference to just Beavis and Butthead in general. I'm reversing something that Beavis did. I'm making a lot of references. I feel I have to explain them, which makes it completely worthless. A man's strength is the only thing that can be browbeaten out of him by an increasingly that society. I am not saying that word on principle. That's why I walk around leaving open jars of olives everywhere. Sometimes just to show that I can. Can I stop talking to you? Do you refrigerate after opening? What? Man, I don't know. That's not important. You have to refrigerate after opening. Even elementary school kids know that. They can't get the jar open in the first place, so it doesn't matter. That's true. I'm a genius. No, you're not. He self-assuredly rubs his chin, which is something I imagine scientists did until I met Muto and was tremendously dead down. Anyway, can't go to the store again since it's clearly been compromised by... Unless I disguise myself. Maybe a change to a different pair of glasses. Worst disguise ever. It's been working flawlessly all these years. I don't even need glasses to see. They're for effect. Also to protect my identity. I'm like Superman. Worst disguise ever. I'm telling you, when people see my school ID, they can't even recognize me. Really? Let me see. Can't do that. Can't go around showing my ID to everyone. It was made long ago in a different time. I had hippie hair? While I'm trying to imagine that, Kenji takes his glasses off. What? He squints as soon as they're off his face, which makes him look even more tired than he already does. He's right, he does look very different. Kind of like he hasn't slept in years. Not different enough for it to be a good disguise, though. You need more sleep. Nah, you look like you need it. No way. These are just the eyes of a man who has seen things. A shaman's eyes. Terrible things that you can't imagine. Like when I made a ship in a bottle and my mom sat on it. There's blood and shreds of floral paint print everywhere. That's what life experiences. This eloquent art and piano music doesn't match his bat crap language and ramblings. Kenji doesn't seem very horrified, even though I think this is actually the first thing he told me about himself that could have been legitimately traumatic. He's also talking about 30 degrees to my left, so I guess his blindness is real. I wave a hand in front of him anyway to little effect. Man, I hope you realize I'm joking. I laugh, pretending that I totally did. Somehow looking him in the eyes is more difficult than usual. Want some trivia? People with small eyes wear big glasses. I've read that somewhere. It's because it makes your eyes look less beady. Really? Didn't know that. And record scratch. He puts his glasses back on, and I feel oddly relieved for a moment until I remember that I still have to deal with him, glasses or not. Well, anyway, the artist girl wanted to paint my portrait once, I think. I had to talk to her like 5 times before she started making sense. I understand Rin infinitely more often than I do you. Must have been Rin, I suppose. What'd she look like? I don't know. A woman with sandals. I was hoping he'd say something more specific, like she had no arms. Rin does wear sandals, but I feel like the chance of her being another free-spirited female art student wearing sandals besides her is reasonably high, actually. I was thinking, sure, someday after I burn all documentation that I exist, it might be okay to leave a portrait behind so that people can look at it and remember the savior of mankind. They'll need it to model the statue. Then I thought about it more and had to turn her down. It was tempting, but she wanted it for some school thing. It'd be displayed. People would ask who I was, only I haven't saved society yet, so it'd be pointless. Even if someone recognized me, I'd have to explain myself. There's already a chain of events I don't want to deal with. I don't want to be getting mixed up in weird situations. Stuff like that always happens, sticking out in a surefire way to get put on a list. That's why I make such a careful effort to blend in with people in my daily life until I can make more. Dale Gribble would think you were a crazy person, Kenji. Sure. What list? There are many lists. So, what are you doing here anyway? Nothing. I kind of got here by accident. Happens to me all the time. Well, hope that works out for you. I think we can go back to my dorm room. I need to set my TV to record my shows. You have TV? Yes, you should come over sometime. We can watch the game in high definition. Before I can ask him what he's talking about, he's gone. He left like he came, with zero respect towards other people. Kind of amazing. Now that Kenji is gone, I resume looking aimlessly at the school gardens in their summer splendor. It's no use. He ruined them. When I get back to the cafeteria, exhausted but alive. That's a good description for ever having to deal with him. And I think of eating lunch with Shizune again, but find her sitting at a table with Misha already. Ew, what's all going on down there? Whoa, loud noises over there. That was loud. Sorry about that. If it were anywhere, I don't know if you even heard that, but loud noises came from my phone. Bad phone. If it were anyone else, I would think how they were too far away for me to hear them. This is Shizune and Misha, however, and they are all about that life, let me tell you. If I wanted to, I could eavesdrop on their conversation easily. What a dirty thing to think about, but it's there. I don't want to, though, so I'm not gonna, but I want everybody to know that I coulda. They must have a lot of catching up to do, even if it's only been just a few days. I'm inclined to leave them alone so they can do just that. However, the second they see me, they wave me over the way they do. Hi, Hichan! Hearing your voice again, even after such a short time, part is jarring and I wince. These past few days, I'd forgotten that communication with Shizune is almost entirely silent, and concentrating on getting it right, I had turned out even ambient noise. Well, I'll get used to it again. I'm glad she's back. Misha's adorable and friendly, and we all appreciate having her around. I'm done making up all my work, just in time. I won't have to miss the festival. Wah-ha-ha. If they really tried to enforce that, I would pull you out on I would pull you out on student council business. If they really tried to enforce that, you'd pull me out on student council business? That's abuse of power. I mean, it is. No, it isn't, Hichan. Yes, it is. Shichan says that if there were only 2 student council members overseeing the festival, it would be a problem, wouldn't it? Yeah, definitely. It has to be at least 3. It's for the good of everyone. It's perfectly reasonable if necessary. Shizune leans across the table a bit as Misha delivers her slightly disturbing, militaristic justifications in a childish, bubbly, up-and-down tone. Shizune looks so happy, though, tenting her fingers and trying to hold back a laugh as Misha pouts more seriously on her behalf. If you say so. I'm actually happy right now that we can talk so easily to each other, all 3 of us. In the beginning, I thought that I might have found myself in a bad situation. I was sure that Shizune would hate getting saddled with being tour guide for the new guy. I didn't want to be that kind of burden, either. It would be awkward even if she weren't deaf and mute, too. Just now, she said that we would all have to be at the festival. The whole student council. I don't think that the student council has any real jurisdiction over Tanabata. It's only Shizune's way of saying that she wants us to spend it together. It's nice to have friends. It's a simple thought, but one that makes me genuinely happy, that we could slip into being such with so much ease. Despite the roundabout way in which he said it, I'm glad that Shizune thinks it strongly enough to express it at all. Why did you wait until we waved you over to come sit with us? A question out of nowhere. Egad, a fastball. Shizune's eyes are expectant as Misha repeats her message. I feel like teasing her. You want me to sit with you that badly? We're in the student council. We should stick together as much as possible. It's logic. Anyone would jump at the chance to sit with 2 cute girls anyway. She pauses, in case I might say something like, "You're not that cute," and instantly lock myself into an obvious no-win situation. When I don't take the bait, Shizune becomes more energetic and continues. You're abnormal. Well, I didn't expect her to end it like that. You're too quick to call other people abnormal. So arrogant. You're too quick to call other people arrogant. That makes you arrogant. And arrogance is also abnormal. You're double abnormal, which makes it round back around into making yourself normal. It doesn't work that way. It's a sliding scale. Leaning on her arm, Misha closes her eyes and lets out a low, slow laugh like a chuckle. Don't laugh. Don't laugh in this kind of situation. I notice that Misha signs everything I say to Shizune anyway, even though I'm signing myself. This is redundant, but it's an unconscious action for Misha. On the other hand, I can't stop. If I let myself take it easy and sign less just because Misha's back, then what was all this for? I don't want to risk losing familiarity with how to sign either. My hands are pretty slow to speak on my behalf as it is. Hichan, you and Shichan talk to each other much more now, back and forth. It's really funny too. Like an old married couple, right? What a loaded comment in so many ways. Although because it's Misha, it can't have been on purpose. That's not a compliment. Shizune doesn't react to Misha trying to pair the 2 of us up. Maybe she didn't see it. Sometimes it does happen, I've noticed. I still wonder if it's really that simple and why I care so much, but I don't want to think about it too hard. I want to leave. I keep thinking that. I'm hogging Misha's time with Shizune, and it could be that Misha cut in just now on purpose, feeling that way too. I doubt that either of them will let me leave, though. In some ways, they're too nice. Anyway, Shizune, if you really want to know, I didn't want to sit here because I didn't want to intrude. I thought that because of Misha being away for supplementary lessons or whatever, you two would have wanted to have a lot to talk about, and I should just leave you alone to catch up. That's why I thought I would just hang back. Don't worry, Misha, I'm not trying to monopolize Shizune. Wahahaha, Hichan, it's not like that. You're so considerate, Hichan. Shichan is sorry and apologizes. I don't really think it's worth apologizing over, so don't worry about it. Hey, don't you both think that since Misha's back, we should celebrate somehow? I think so. Hichan, usually having to make up work isn't something to celebrate over. No, it's a good idea. The timing is perfect, and Shizune said that the student council should have a little fun too sometimes. You probably heard that too, right, Misha? It should be fine. Actually, wait a second. Didn't you have to make up work because you were missing so many classes to begin with? So skipping out to celebrate would be kind of stupid. Maybe the timing isn't perfect, like I said, but we could go after school. Where should we go? Misha speaks Shizune's question to her aloud before she even stops to think it over, both of them completely ignoring me. Hey, listen to me. 2-man short-sighted student council team. Hichan, you're a part of this team too. Oh, yeah, I guess I am. Huh. Yeah, you are, Hichan. So forgetful and troublesome. I feel sorry for the girl who falls in love with you. Ah, well, give it time, Shizune. Give it time. So, where do you think we should go? I'm now laughing in spite of myself, wanting to point out how Misha seems so enthusiastic now when she was the one who was most apprehensive about it just a few seconds ago. For whatever reason, I can't bring myself to do it, but this is okay too. After a short discussion on where to go, it seems like the only place all three of us know and are willing to travel to is the Shanghai. A tea house doesn't look like a bad place to celebrate, especially because I'm sure they sell cake there, and cake is the most celebratorial food of all. Well, quite personally, I find pizza to be that way because that's how I celebrate my birthday every year. So, you know, that sort of thing. But I get you. I haven't seen Yuko in a while either, but neither of the girls. For all these reasons, plus the fact that it's so close, I end up standing in front of the little tea shop with Shizune and Misha before I know it. Ting ting yo! Welcome! It's been a while since I heard Yuko's voice, so I'm surprised all over again by the energy she puts into her greetings, kind of like an extremely nervous Misha. Hi, but you don't have to do that all the time if it's just for us. Yes, I do. But, okay, if you say so, Yuko. I take this moment to glance around the tea house and notice that it's as empty as ever. It's lunchtime, essentially the peak hour for an establishment of this type, and yet it's as barren as ever. I don't understand. There has to be some kind of reason for this. I demand answers. Oh, hello. Shizune gently taps my arm to get my attention. What do you want to get? Yuko looks a little agitated after Misha automatically relays the question. Well, I'm supposed to ask that. Is there anything I can do for you? Just some coffee for now, I guess. Thanks. The dedication Yuko has towards her waitressing duties is sort of admirable, so in the speed of which she whisks slices of cakes and our drinks to our table when we order. Then again, we're the only customers here. Who knows what it'd be like with a full house? Or, Fuller House. References. Never watched that show. Never watched the original show either. Shizune and Misha immediately dig into their cakes with gusto. Probably because they can't talk with utensils in their hands anyway. The whole point to sharing a meal with friends like this is being able to talk over it after all. Makes sense that it would be the same with them. I'm barely halfway through my cake when I hear their forks clinking as they set them down on their empty plates. It's not healthy to inhale your food. Hichan sounds like an old man. I cringe and instantly feel like I've been punched. Are you going to wear a yukata tomorrow, Hichan? No, I don't even have one. But even if I did, I'm not the kind of guy who does stuff like that. What about you? Are you two going to dress up? Of course! That sounds cute! What do you mean, of course? You didn't dress up last time. One time is not a trend. It's a completely different situation anyway. Aside from not being Tanabata, the festival was on school grounds. Students should wear their uniform on school grounds. Clearly a joke, but her delivery isn't any different from the usual. That isn't normal, but her sense of humor never was, so I'm used to it. I guess her way of saying outrageous things seriously is a little better than if she were to say serious things outrageously. What's more troubling in any case is that I've started to associate a voice with her singing. Wait, associate a voice with her signing? And it's clashing with how Misha says out loud everything Shizune signs anyway. I feel disoriented. I'll dress up this time. That sounds cute. I'll dress up this time. You'll see, Hichan. Not just Hichan, but me too. Maybe I'll change my hairstyle too. Don't do that. I can't really imagine you looking differently. Shizune wags a finger and smiles. Such a quick and firm disapproval. What if I were to change my hairstyle? What, make it even shorter? Because I'm okay with that. Maybe you should grow your hair out and make it look like drills. She looks unamused. Luckily, I see Yuko making her way over, likely to clear our plates or ask if we need anything from her. Yuko, are you doing anything for Tanabata? Eh? It's like she was practicing how to most smoothly ask if I needed a refill of coffee while walking over, and she has no idea what to do, having been asked a question first. I feel bad. Yeah, I'm working. Yuko, they make you work on holidays? Aw. We have the most business on holidays, and sometimes tourists. I don't mind. I have to do my best. I understand completely. So admirable. Shizune nods her head in solidarity, feeling a kind of kinship with Yuko through their shared determination to be the best. Although for her, it's a matter of pride, whereas Yuko might just feel that she really, really needs the job and maybe a raise. The most business, huh? So how many people on average during a holiday? Ah, well. Alright, she's gone. Yuko walks away and starts cleaning up a cup of swizzle sticks. That isn't polite. This is not what a proper waitress would do. Nonetheless, I sort of got my answer anyway. Clearly, business is scarce at best. And yes, I know it's scarce. I like scarce better. More inside jokes. I start to wonder how the Shanghai remains open at all. Maybe this eclectic style of tea house is a trend that was outrageously successful before I got here, but isn't anymore. And they're just keeping it like this while they retool. Maybe the owner is rich and involved in some sort of bet with someone else or a crazy scheme to see who can lose the most money. Maybe I just conveniently miss mobs of customers by seconds of each visit. Or maybe this place is just a front for arms dealers. Since there's no one else here, why don't you sit down with us? We could talk about economic feasibility, but Yuko doesn't take the bait, shaking her head from side to side empathetically. I've never really celebrated Tanabata before, or dressed up for anything like this. I'll finally be able to wear my yukata! Yay yay! What do you mean, never? What about last year? Last year, Shi-chan, me, and the 3-2 class rep ran a stall for the festival. It was a soba stall, I think. Yeah, it was fun. Yep. The blind class rep of 3-2 must be Lily. I'm surprised they were able to work together on anything, but Misha would likely be the best possible buffer for that kind of thing, with how innocent she is. Shi-chan cooked and Lily took the orders, and I translated for them. Shi-chan kept saying, "It's so inefficient, Misha. Why do you have to keep being the middleman?" As in, why is there a middleman in the first place, huh? It would be best if I did the cooking and you took the orders. It doesn't make any sense at all. But I think everyone had fun in the end. Right, Shi-chan? Shizune is very angry. Shizune adjusts her glasses grudgingly, causing Misha to break into laughter. It was the old student council's idea. That's why. So, what was the last student council like then? Shizune finally decides to step in again, or it's more like she can't stop herself. Terrible. That was blunt. She ends with a chopping motion, as if passing judgment upon them. She's going to elaborate a little. At universities and some private schools, students' councils can have control over millions of yen to budget and distribute as needed. Wow, really? Millions? All right. And then they are much more involved in school activities too, Hichan. From Misha's tone, it seems like this is newer to her than it is to me. The student council was like a joke in comparison. Don't give people positions of power if they don't have any power at all. What's the point? So, I wanted us to have more and more work. It was hard to convince the school and the other student council members to allow it, actually. A lot of the work you've seen us do, really, is what I took on, which is what Lily was talking about. If it wasn't for Chi-chan, the student council would have just file attendance reports day in and day out. Well, that would explain why they probably didn't like you doing all this. You're just making them do more work. They probably joined student council specifically because it was an elective that was also brain dead simple. I guess that would explain some stuff. Haha, would you prefer that, Hichan? Of course, Hichan, as soon as the workload started going up, most of the student council stopped coming. Wahaha! That's not really something to laugh about. Shizune's fingers fold over each other carefully. It looks like she wants to add something, but she can't bring herself to. Like she said, sign language gives you a little more time to think about what you say. I guess she feels like she can't talk about this. That was then, and this is now. Let's have fun tomorrow. This is what we finally settled for. Yeah. Okay, then student council is adjourned for today. It has been adjourned excitingly because today was a good day. Ha ha ha. These gals, I swears. School seems to be over by the time we leave the tea house, as I can see the students coming down from the school as we walk up the road towards it. A couple people wearing our school uniform look at Shizune as she walks by, and I wonder if they recognize her as the student council president, or if their eyes are just being drawn to Misha's head. It is a very noteworthy head. It's impossible not to overhear the chatter in the air, and the topic is more often than not plans for Tanabata. I wonder how many of them will be using or going to the stalls that I reassembled. Makes me feel a little pride, an emotion I've never felt doing something for school. And yeah, I know I never have. Maybe this is how Shizune feels as well. I almost want to ask, but it seems stupid to want to do so. So I just hold on to the thought as the three of us walk onto campus and then separate. Shizune to the student council room and Misha and me to our dorms. It isn't until they're gone that I realize again, I didn't ask when and where they wanted to meet up tomorrow. If only we bothered with freaking email or text messaging. I know we have phones. Come on. Even though it is a holiday, I wake up at the same time as usual, on a day when everyone else is likely sleeping in for another 6 hours. I take my morning regime of pills for the first time, or regimen, that makes more sense, and for the first time in a few days. Admittedly, I'd let my medication slip my mind. Looking at the rows of bottles in front of me, I don't know how I managed to. 17 different medications. I feel full enough to skip breakfast after taking all of them. I'm already up, so might as well take a walk. The weather looks nice outside. Gives off an idyllic atmosphere I'd often dreamed of. It's always been kind of a romantic notion to me to be able to meander around in the countryside, taking in the fresh air. Not that an opportunity to do just that is here, I can't resist, or now that it is, even though I know it must seem silly. I stop at the main building in order to buy a drink and then decide to enter it and maybe hang around on the roof a little bit. The view might be pretty cool at this time, and I'm sure that nobody else is up there either, and I've never been up there by myself. School's quiet today, deserted. My footsteps echoing on the staircase to the roofs are unnervingly loud. It shouldn't bother me due to how much time I've spent in sign language class in near total silence, or working so much with Shizune lately, but it still does. Makes the smallest noises that I wouldn't have ever noticed before seem boomingly loud. Feels like I'm sneaking around someplace I shouldn't be. Wonder why I'm getting that vibe. Maybe the school's haunted or something. When I open the door to the roof, I see I'm not alone. Misha leans against the fence looking over the school grounds, not having noticed me at all. Instantly, I know what I have to do. I have to put my hands over her eyes and say, guess who? It's the only option. Halfway, I start thinking of how bad this would look if Shizune suddenly popped in, having left for just a second to get some sandwiches and saw me sneaking up on Misha like this. I pray silently that such a coincidental misunderstanding doesn't happen. Guess who? Hee-chan! She says without hesitation for a second, without deviating even slightly from her normal tone. My fun was over before it started. Hi, Hee-chan! Good morning! She reflexively tries to move her hands to form a greeting and entangles them in the fencing. Good morning. Didn't expect you to find you here. What are you doing up so early? Could ask you the same thing, Hee-chan. What are you doing up so early? Didn't expect to find you here. Hey, I asked you first. You're right. You sound just like Shi-chan. No, I don't. I say it in the least convincing manner possible. Luckily, Misha doesn't notice what a bad actor I am. Are you looking forward to tonight? Of course, Hee-chan. I don't like celebrations, or maybe not as much as Shi-chan does, but Tanabata always will have interesting things to buy, and all kinds of seasonal food. And I get to wear a yukata. Her choice of words is a little strange. Sounds like she's saying she doesn't know, it sounds like she's saying that she doesn't like celebrations, but likes everything involved with them. I don't know if it's worth pursuing, though, and it could just be that I misunderstood. More than possible, let's be real here. Misha is a silly, silly girl. What about you, Hee-chan? I am, or else I'd just be staying home, wouldn't I? That's the logical step. Haha, Hee-chan, you're not that logical. So, that's really surprising. Okay though, I was just making sure because you don't look like you were having a lot of fun last time me and Shi-chan were a little worried about because of that. Hey, I had fun. I guess I ended up appreciating it more than I expected to. Really, Hee-chan? What part of it? Tell me. Well, there were fireworks at the end. They were really nice. I think you slept through them. Oh, I always fall asleep early, but I won't sleep through them this year. I'll definitely stay awake. I don't think they have fireworks during Tanabata. It's a different mood entirely. Maybe you can get Shizune to petition them to have them, though, and to move the fireworks to an earlier time. Maybe I will. That's a great idea, Hee-chan. No, it's not. Don't do that. I wasn't being serious. Although it would annoy Shizune. You make it sound like you'd like that, Hee-chan. Hee-chan, do you like Shi-chan? I can't say yes or no, and sitting down like I am, I can't even smoothly leave. Don't be silly. The one I like is you. Really, Hee-chan? No, you're kidding, right? You must like Shi-chan more. Misha, you jump to conclusions too much. But you almost called her Shi-chan, so I'm right? It's because you call her Shi-chan all the time. It gets stuck in my head. Osmosising language is common, you know? Besides, it's one little slip up, and by your logic, you should like her more than me. And are you making fun of me or something? Maybe. I'm hungry. Did you eat breakfast, Hee-chan? No, just medicine. Misha twirls her finger lazily in the air and keeps her hands busy as she thinks. We should eat something then. Do you think they'll be serving breakfast today? That's really the kind of thing a member of the student council should know. Can't say that though, I'm on the student council and don't know. It didn't seem like anyone was working in the kitchen when I entered the building, but I don't know for sure. My best guess is probably no. That's just my guess though. Hey Hee-chan, have you heard about those vending machines that you can get from food, from like burgers, soup, and even pizza? Wouldn't it be great if we had some of those at our school? God, yes. I don't know, I always thought those machines were kind of weird. Imagine how cool it would be if we had machines like that at our school. You've heard of a gumball machine, but how about a gumbo machine? Haha! It would almost be like magic, wouldn't it? Hot food coming out of a vending machine, that's so amazing. I could never imagine that. Seeing one of those machines would be like a dream, or like watching Star Trek. But, you know, I don't know if that ever had a place in Japan. Then again, Kenji references the Highlander, so, we don't have machines like that in this whole town, though. It's too early to go in, even go into town. I won't be able to eat breakfast, Hee-chan. That's the most important meal of the day. Everyone says so. I want to eat. You're really silly. If it bothers you so much, I'll buy you a soda. Misha puffs out her cheeks and puts on her serious face. For serious business. Hee-chan, a soda is not a breakfast. It's like water. It's not like water, it's a liquid. Water isn't food. Liquid can be food. Now it sounds like Shizune, Misha. I want to say it. Even her tone reminds me of Shizune's unblinking, matter-of-fact way of stating the ridiculous. If I did say that, though, who would be the one who sounds like Shizune again? It's terrible. Her competitiveness is really rubbing off on me. Let's look for something to eat, then. Okay, Predictably, our search for food in an empty school building this early in the morning leads only to failure. Misha decides to go off on her own after we both decide to give up for now, vowing to eat breakfast, even though by now it's closer time for brunch! I go back to my dorm. The following hours tick by slowly, and I pass the time by catching up on my reading. Some of these books I haven't touched since I was in the hospital. Thinking back on it, wasn't that long ago, even though it definitely feels like it was. A free day, and I can't think of anything to do. I take a short nap, and as I change for the second time today, I realize that I never actually confirmed with Shizune or Misha when and where we would meet up. I guess that eventually they would come looking for me, but I'd look pretty stupid if it came to that. It's already evening, so I should at least make an effort to find them first. Even though the grounds aren't exactly flooded with people, and it should be impossible to miss Misha's pink hair even if they were, I'll have a lot of difficulty finding them. I do. Finally, I run into them at the front gate, which was the first place I had looked. Oh, that's mad pretty, though. Oh, she pretty. Hello. She attempts to punctuate her normal greeting with a grand little sweep at the end. Whoa! Extra drilly! Hee-chan, how are you? Wow, these two look amazing. It's strange seeing them in yukata, though I've been seeing yukata in general all night. Shizune is simple and tasteful, which seems obvious for her in retrospect. For all her grand flourishes and over-the-top behavior, I think she would rather die than dress the part. What draws my eye is the hairpin she's wearing. A pearl flower that gleams softly in the moonlight. Looks pretty on her, but in a way it also feels out of place. And if it's too elaborate for a high school girl, or maybe she's just someone as secretly childish as Shizune. Misha's yukata is about what I expected, so it actually fits a little too well, paired with her bubblegum pink hair. She looks cute, but anachronistic. You two look nice. Thanks, Hee-chan. Hee-chan, you're a little late. We were waiting here for a while. Did you forget the time or the place? Oh well, let's get going, Hee-chan. I didn't forget, I was never given any indication in the first place. There's a very large difference I'd like you to know. Misha dropped this line of discussion saves me from what could potentially be a pretty embarrassing thing to own up to. Specifically that I've been looking for them for at least an hour. Seeing Shizune and Misha looking so cheerful, it's hard not to want to fall into the atmosphere and enjoy a nice night out. What bothers me is that I'm having trouble reading Shizune's signing tonight. I hadn't been to sign language class in almost a week, so I'm not surprised. Guess having lost focus for a while, I'm slipping. Certainly wouldn't be the first time. Hold on, where are we going? Into town? Yes. That doesn't make any sense. We haven't even checked out what's on the grounds, unless you two decided to have fun while I wasn't looking. We were going to come back. We'll be working our way up. Haha! Either way, Hee-chan, we have to walk into town and then back up if we want to see everything. So this way, after we're done, we'll be right by our dorms when we're tired. It works out perfectly. This is admittedly logical. Shizune doesn't give me much time to argue anyway, grabbing me by the arm and lightly trying to pull me along. Oh no, it's cute! The streets illuminated only by the light of the moon and low lanterns tinted with tissue paper put me at ease. Now that we're in town, Shizune moves a bit more slowly in order to see the sights. So I decided to walk more briskly in order to mess with her, but she quickly readjusts her own speed to match, letting out a soundless laugh before quickly signing to Misha with her offhand. What do you want to do first, Hichan? How about some games if there are any? I thought you didn't like games, Hichan. I don't mind. For the second time today, I feel her slim fingers wrapping around mine. It feels like all this time, I've been being pulled along by Shizune's will. Occasionally, it's quite tiring, but I think that for the most part, I wouldn't say I hate it. It's just the quality of some people to drag around others into their lives like a storm. That word fits Shizune sometimes, I think. Although I didn't want to tell Misha earlier today, I do like her. Hichan, you're gonna win a doll for me too this time, right? You're still thinking about that? Okay, I will. I failed tremendously at accomplishing that. The time passes by faster than I thought it could as we run around trying to do as many frivolous things as possible. Snow cones, Hichan! Do you want one? Misha runs towards the stand, not even waiting to hear my answer. They look delicious. I want one too. We'll play rock, paper, scissors to see who can pay for them all. Or we could each pay for our own. Hichan, what flavor do you want? Blue! Kinship. Blue is not a flavor. Yes, it is, and you know it. Whatever it's supposed to be, it doesn't taste like it. It's like any of those candies or ice creams or popsicles that say they're grape flavored. They never taste like grapes. I've eaten grapes. They're mealy little water balloons full of yuck juice. Okay? Those things aren't grape flavored. They're purple flavored. And purple is delicious. I knew that. Ordering something based on color is childish. You're childish. What are you getting at? You getting strawberry? Ha! That's a childish flavor. Only children eat strawberry. You should get plain, the most mature flavor of all. That's just shaved ice! And that is also something I would probably do in real life because I like just ice. I want to know where her personality comes from. I wonder if I would think that way if she hadn't been the first student I ended up having a conversation with on my first day here. It's entirely possible that I'd missed the parts of her that kept drawing me in. If I didn't know that she couldn't hear me and that she was so competitive and so focused with getting me to join the student council and so alternatingly playful and sharp, without these constant new facets to keep me interested in her, would I have grown to like her so much? It's likely that I'm overthinking it. Aren't you gonna make a wish? Hichan never makes wishes, Hichan. Not really? Not even on New Year's? Why's that? Shizune tenses her fingers and smiles, but won't answer. It's a secret. I know. Hichan, do you want me to tell you? Yes. Shizune alternates between as many forceful iterations of no that she can think of. I'll tell you later, okay? Actually, I feel tired. I think I'm gonna go to bed early. Really? Doesn't feel like it's been that long. Time flies when you're having fun. But it has, Hichan. Maybe I can visit Yuko first, then go back. Or, I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. Have fun without me, okay? We're gonna go back to the school soon anyway, Misha. Misha doesn't want to hear it and leaves anyway. Shizune starts to wonder why just as soon as I do, but while I keep it in my head, she signs it, seeming to want to discuss the possible reasons. Peculiar. After we're both done seeing all there is to see, I check the time and find that it's pretty late. My energy is starting to wear off, and it's a miracle that I managed to have even this much, too. Even Shizune is starting to look a bit tired. We make our way back to the grounds. Shizune seems disappointed when she sees the school building lit up and teeming with students. Something wrong? I wanted to go up to the roof, but now there are too many people. I'm tired, so it might be for the best. There are probably couples on the roof since it's that kind of holiday. Then again, I wouldn't know. Is that how it is? I had never really been to festivals before coming to here. I'm disappointed. I thought you said you wanted to see what what the school was doing last, like saving the best for last. Now you're telling me you don't want it to? Not even a little? I thought you would have more energy. I don't feel tired. This seems to spark her competitive spirit, and Shizune immediately perks up. Although it's then that I realize I didn't have anywhere in mind to take her, and I don't feel like going to the main building myself. Fortunately, the area behind the school is both deserted and impressive looking today. Never appreciated how sprawling and well kept it was until seeing it at night. It almost seems to go on forever in the moonlight. It's very pretty, even though it's just a field. I thought earlier that she was too immature to pull off the old-fashioned clothes she's wearing tonight, but right now, she's quite beautiful in them. Makes me think back to the other festival that I went to with her. She had looked the same way then. I want to tell her that I like her, decisively in one go, but even thinking about it is just so awkward. Even the more I like her, the more awkward and afraid I am of telling her how I feel. Even now, when I could do so if I wanted without having to go through another person. Not to mention, what if what happened last time happens again? If it does, I might not get off so easily with a months-long hospital stay. I don't want to even think about it. I try to shove the thoughts out of my mind in any way possible. I try to dismiss them as unlikely fears. Still, the first time I had seen all my pills, I'd imagined them cascading before me, enough of them to choke me. I still think about it from time to time. I can't say that it's not a legitimate concern. Times like these are nice enough that I can forget, though. My favorite thing about this school is that it's on top of a mountain. Is it because it's that much closer to the sky? Yes. I like it too, but more because of the fresh air. You're so competitive. Too competitive. If a whale bit you, you'd bite it back. That makes her laugh and she winks. Would that be so bad? Well, I mean, if a whale bit you, yeah, I think it would. Those things have gigantic heads. Her smile's contagious. Yes. It's true. I'm terrible. A little. But if I can make people happy, I'm not entirely terrible, am I? It's okay. I have many examples in my defense. Maybe even this moment is a kind of game to her. That's right. This is a romantic moment. I don't know if such a chance might come again, and I feel compelled to say something awkward and stupid. If I think about it too much, I doubt my hands will listen to me. Do you want to be my girlfriend? I hope that I signed it properly. I feel nervous, as if I want to break into a run, yet I'm rooted to the spot. I couldn't hear a thing just minutes ago. Now I'm picking up every little ambient noise. I really am nervous, and I wonder if it shows. Before, hours passed like seconds. Now the seconds pass like eons. Oh boy. Then I see Shizune's hands moving unsteadily before her fumbling over each other, stopping halfway through each gesture. Oh boy. It's like she said, sign language gives you an opportunity to think your words through, and she's trying very hard to do that right now. Her expression is ominous. Okay, I feel like I might have accidentally double-clicked. Okay. A situation that she doesn't know how to respond to. It must be unthinkable. As stoic as Shizune tries to be, she can't hide her reddening cheeks, and she's very cute and feminine like this. And it puts me at ease to know she's as nervous as I am. The thought is yet another way in which I found myself competing with her. Okay. That's a simple reply, but as soon as I think that, Shizune takes a step forward and embraces me. An unsure and careful embrace, as if I were made of eggshell, and as she doesn't know how to hug someone. Although, to be honest, it's not a subject I'm familiar with either. Her yukata is cool and silky under my fingers, but I can also feel Shizune's warmth. In the end, she thought this the best possible gesture to show how she felt.